Today we're going to look at something called dodging and burning, and if you've been following these videos in order, this will be your first introduction on the delights of layers, and layers are going to become an invaluable part of what we do going forwards in these. So this will be the first time we talk about layers. So two things to tackle here. Firstly, what is dodging and burning? Well, they're old darkroom photography phrases from the days of film photography. And what people would do is, if there was an element of their image that they wanted to make darker or lighter, when they were developing it, they would do things like, if they wanted to make a little bit lighter, they would put a little bit of cardboard over that part of the image so that when it went into the developer it wouldn't expose as much as another part of the image. So it's in the digital darkroom, things have got a lot more advanced. Now, Photoshop does bundle some dodging and burning tools, and you can find them over on the left hand side of the screen on the toolbar on the left. There's a dodge, a burn and a sponge tool. I don't use them because I don't feel they give me as much control as the way I'm going to show you how to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some layers, and in order to make a layer there's multiple ways you can access one. So the first way, the kind of obvious way, is to go through the layers menu, choose new and layer, and that will bring up this little dialog box, and you press OK. And what you'll see is on the right hand side you now have a layer called layer 1, and originally all we had here was the background, and now we've got a layer. And so what's a layer? Well, a layer is like laying a piece of clear paper, like acetate paper or tracing paper or whatever, over the top of your image. And what it enables you to do is to do things on the layer. So I'm going to write on our layer, and I've looks like I've completely ruined this photograph now, but in reality all I've done is drawn on that acetate, drawn on that layer. So you get these little eyes next to your layers on the right hand side. So if I click the eye and turn the eye off, you can see that nonsense has disappeared and reappeared and disappeared again. So a layer effect allows you to make non-intrusive changes to your photo. Up to date on the videos, so the last sort of 4 or 5 videos, we've been doing everything through the image adjustment menu. We've been making direct changes to the image. By doing it through layers, it means you can make non-intrusive changes to your image. So you can pile up these layers of acetate on top of your image. You can try different things with your image, and keep the ones that work and delete the ones that don't. And they're incredibly useful and incredibly powerful, probably one of the kind of core features of what makes Photoshop such a powerful application. I don't like this layer, so I'm just going to delete it, and my image will return back to normal. Let's go back to dodging and burning. You are looking at a truly horrendous picture of Big Ben that I took about 2-3 years ago, I think. I took it at sunset on a very busy bridge in Britain's capital. And it was very hot, the sun was setting, and I didn't get a lot of time because I was constantly being bumped by people, so I didn't get a lot of time to take the image. It was a rush job, and I paid the price for that. The sun was setting to the right of the clock tower, so you can see this side of the clock tower is quite nicely exposed, and we've got some quite warm light, quite nice light, sort of picking out the highlights on the clock tower, which is great. The problem is that because the clock tower, Big Ben, was lit from the right hand side, all the rest of this building is in shadow, and kind of varying nasty degrees of shadow going across here. It would be really difficult and fiddly to make a selection. I showed you how to do that with the magnetic lasso tool in, I think it was the second one of these I did, because I'd have to go around all of these little towers, and I'd have to go so far up and back down again, and it would just be really fiddly. So what dodging and burning enables us to do is make selections using a paintbrush, and we can literally paint light onto the dark areas of the image. The other thing I'm going to try and do is, on the right hand side, down in this right hand corner, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on a sort of little video, but on the right hand side here, this is completely overexposed. It's very, very white when it should be blue like the rest of the sky. So we're going to try, and I don't think it's going to work, but we're going to try and do some highlight recovery by trying to make this a bit darker to see if there's anything left in there for us to recover. So yeah, on with the show then. To make a layer, like we said, we're going to Layer, New, and Layer, and we get this little dialog box. Now, in this dialog box there's an option called Mode, and I don't want a normal layer for this, I want an overlay layer. An overlay layer makes things even thinner, makes the painting action even thinner than if we were to choose a normal layer. And so this is useful when you just want to make subtle changes to an image. So we choose the overlay layer and we press OK. I'll now point you to these two squares on the left hand side. This is your palette, your colour palette, and what we can do is we can press X to swap between black and white, and X on the keyboard, or we can use these little arrows to swap between black and white. Surprisingly enough, when we're doing dodging and burning, white makes things lighter and black makes things darker. So to start with, let's try and sort these dark areas of the image. So I'm going to choose the white colour, I'm going to click on paintbrush, I'm going to choose a brush like that, using the sort of brush choosing tools at the top there. It doesn't matter hugely for this which sort of brush you use, but experiment with different ones and see what you like. And then just going to left click on the dark area of the image and gradually paint some light into the image. So you can see there it goes, painting the light onto the image. Not going to be completely precise on this because we haven't got a lot of time. But there we go, painting light, making the image brighter, and oh dear, I've made a mistake. So what do I do now? I choose the eraser tool and I can just rub out the mistake that I've made. And go up there and just correct that. Back to the paintbrush again and paint in some more highlights, some more light onto our image. Using the bracket tools, which are the ones next to the enter key on your keyboard, the return key on the keyboard, you can make your brush bigger and smaller. You can also make your brush bigger and smaller over here using this little slider. So you click the little drop down arrow and you get a slider that will make the brush bigger, just so that I can very easily paint into the detailed areas. Imagine how fiddly this would be if we were using that magnetic lasso from the second episode. It would be an absolute nightmare. Going around all of these little sort of minarets and things. So there we go. Brilliant. Okay, pretty rubbish bit of painting, but it gives you the idea. As you can see, that looks far too light now. So what I can do is I can adjust the opacity here on the right hand side. So if I pull that down to 0, that's sort of what the image looked like originally, and then I can increase and decrease the opacity until I've got it to somewhere where I think it's about right, and probably about there-ish, I would think, would be fine. Okay, I'm going to make another layer. So again, there are hotkeys. They're really annoying for layers. It's Control Shift and N to bring up this layer dialog box. Again, choose Overlay and click OK. I'm going to press the X key on the keyboard, and as you can see, my colour changes to black. And I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to recover the highlights on the left hand side. So I can recover a little bit, but as you can see, as I drag into this area here, there's absolutely nothing there. These are blown highlights. There's nothing to make darker because I've done such a bad job of taking the photograph in the first place. That's okay. I'm just going to pull the opacity back again just to sort of make sure that blends in okay. I'm going to use my rubber, my razor, sorry, just to rub out those bits. And there we go. In a nutshell, that's dodging and burning to make images lighter or darker. Again, if let's say this was overexposed, I can just sort of paint over the top, and if I increase the opacity, I can just. Why is that not working? Yeah, need a paintbrush. There we go. I can make this darker if I wanted to, or I can make it lighter by using the white colour. So hopefully that was a useful introduction to layers and dodging and burning. Can be quite a useful tool. So yeah, thanks to all the people that have watched the videos. We're nearly up to 50 views. So I wouldn't say I'm a YouTube phenomenon, but thank you very much to everybody who's watched them all. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.